Hello everybody, welcome back, Omega Given here. Today we're talking a little bit about lore, and I haven't posted a lore video in a bit because I've been caught up in a lot of the ATT SMP creation and setup and video making stuff, but I had a breakthrough recently. I was looking at some of the banners that you can see on the announcement pages, and I was looking at some of the characters within those banners, and then I was looking at some of the past ones, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's some very suspicious people here. Very sus indeed. So let's talk about them. But before we talk about them, I want you guys to go down and hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel and it helps me, or it helps motivate me to make more of these videos. They are fun to make, but it just takes a lot of time to make them, and you know, putting them my thoughts into like one video is really hard sometimes. So yeah, go and hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you guys. So we're going to talk about 4 individuals that are present throughout many of the banners that are found, and mainly, well, 2 of which are only actually in the Halloween banners, interestingly enough, and like the post-Halloween banners or pre-Halloween banners, like around that time. So it's kind of interesting as I saw them, and I'm like, huh, okay, but the other 2, there's hints of them in other banners. So yeah, let's go one by one. First, we want to start off with the Senseless Man. So the Senseless Man makes his first appearance in the 2020 first rotation of the Halloween bundle. We see him amongst a bunch of other fellow townsfolk fending off what looks to be phantoms, which is very interesting indeed. He's a very vicious looking fellow, and he's very willing to keep fighting. But the thing is, this is the first time we see him. He somehow survives this instance with these phantoms, and he continues on. The next instance we find him is the 2021 Halloween bundle, where you find him standing behind a bunch of the other townfolk, as if all these townfolk have banded together to fight off what looks to be other townfolk, but maybe even these other townfolk are zombie-like in a way. Now, it's kind of hard to determine how canon some of these older ones are, as it hasn't been until recent where they have been saying what is canon and what is not. But it's a very good note to put that maybe there is some kind of undead or mind-controlling aspects to some of these other people that they might be fighting off against. Alright, the next time we find the Senseless Man is actually in the most recent bundle, which is the Halloween Rotation 2 bundle, where he's in the background, where we have the Sanguine Sovereign up front, and he's just like sitting there in the back, chilling, as if contemplating on what's happening in front of him. Of course, he is the Senseless, so he must be feeling what's going on in the situation in some way that we don't know about. Well, that is the story of the Senseless Man. There's not too much to be had other than he makes his appearance many a times, and yet some of the other people, we don't see their appearance before. So he's very much an old townfolk in this group here. Now, the next person I want to talk about is the Robust Forge Master, which interestingly enough, his clothing and cosmetics are a Halloween exclusive item. And yet, when we look at the lore, he also only appears in the Halloween banners. So it makes me wonder how much of a connection he has, even though he doesn't seem Halloween-like, but how much connection he has to these different rituals that seem to be happening during the Halloween season. Which this is why I think it's very interesting to take the Senseless Man and the Forge Master together, as they're appearing so many times in the Halloween bundles and not anywhere else. But let's quickly inform you guys of the instances that the Forge Master appears. He appears as the first debut of the Senseless Man together in that one fight against the Phantoms. But then again, he also appears in the 2021 bundle, where he and the next person we will talk about stand over a pumpkin about to be slaughtered. And him looked very greedily at the pumpkin, as if it was of his making that this has happened. The next time we see him is in the 2022 bundle. Now in this bundle, we see that he's a little different looking, but I still think he's probably close to the same person, where it seems like he's almost hoarding a potion next to this Sanguine Sovereign, and just like sitting there very greedily. Of course, this character's, description is very, mysteriously and chaotic, as he seems like the fumes have turned him mad in a way. So it's very interesting that he's seeking this power or trying to push some kind of power on. And the Senseless, appearing in many of the same artworks, is just in the background watching as it all happens. The next person I want to talk about actually makes his debut a year before these 2 characters. And he actually doesn't appear quite in the Halloween bundles until later. But that's okay, because his hat also is what gives him away in many of these bundles, and it's a little different each time. It used to be a clean top hat, and this character must have dyed his hat different colors throughout the years. We see him appear in 2020 and 2021 celebration kind of looking banners. And then in the next rotations, we see him in the Halloween bundles again. But this time he wears a beaten up hat that has a very interesting description. A description telling as if this character must have been from olden times, and that he knows of the different things happening amongst the townfolk today. Though the first instance we see in the first Halloween bundle that he pops up in, he looks younger, but he wears the same hat and the same shirt. It's very interesting how this character changes throughout the time, but he wears the same cosmetics, which makes it very interesting of what he is, or who he is. And who knows, maybe it's not just one person, but it's two people that share a different mindset. The second time we see this person in the top hat is actually what looks like an older character in the Halloween bundle of this year. And it looks like he's facing downward as if he doesn't want to see what's about to happen. He knows what's about to happen amongst the townfolk and that maybe there's something bad about to happen. So with those three characters aside, and their very interesting expressions in all the actions happening throughout the years, we go to the last person, the culprit, or the person that is the most suspicious of all of them. It is the hooded figure. Now this character looks a little different in some of these pictures, but they're very similar in different aspects. He first makes his debut in April 2020, which is the earliest time before any of these other characters. And in this picture, we see him holding his finger to his mouth as if to tell everyone to shush, there is a secret about to happen. And it's very interesting that this happens before many of the Halloween announcements that are to come. Many of the announcements that hint of rituals and darkness about to happen in the township. And maybe he is the culprit and he knows what's about to happen. And he is willing for it to happen. Now, the first connection point with this character and the other characters is 2020, where we find him behind the Senseless Man and the Forge Master in the fight against the Phantoms. And guess what? He has his same finger to his mouth, as if he knows what's about to happen and he wants it to happen and willing for it to happen. Interestingly enough, in this same picture, two of the characters I have not yet found in other future rotations, meaning maybe those two figures on the left of this picture have died during this fight, and the rest of them continued on. There's only one other instance where I think I saw the person on the far right, but we're going to put him aside as he doesn't seem to have too much significance in many other banners. So that's why I think these three connect very well, the Forge Master, the hooded figure, and the Senseless. But when does the top hat person come in? He comes in 2 weeks later on the next Halloween rotation, where we see him stooping down his hat and trying to comfort someone that's mourning, maybe mourning over someone that died, maybe the previous two characters. Now the next time we see the hooded figure is actually in the 6th month of 2021, where it's not a Halloween bundle or anything, but he's just sitting there again with his finger to his mouth behind all the other characters. He very much seems like he is holding something back from all of them. Now his appearance does change as his beard changes over time, but he definitely holds the same pose and the same cloak. Now, is this a coincidence? I don't know. But finally, he breaks his pose as we see him in the most recent bundle, all together, all four of these characters together, over the Sanguine Sovereign and his potion. But this time, instead of having a finger to his mouth, he stands there, laughing or smiling, whichever one you might think he is. He's wearing a different cloak this time, the same hood, but a different cloak, but it still looks very much similar to his second appearance. So what is the importance of all of this? Why do I bring up these four characters? And why do I, hint that they might be so big and bad? Well, it's because I really just think that they are special. They appear many times and very easily to spot compared to many other characters. And all of them appear all together in the most recent rotation. And significantly enough, they don't appear in the previous rotation where we introduce a new character, a new, maybe evil character, the Hiveminder, where we find the Hiveminder and a physical phantom together. But it's interesting that these two coincide back to back, where all of them don't appear in that rotation with the hive minder, but they appear in the next rotation. And not just that, but that all of the characters in this most recent rotation do not show in the previous rotation, as if these might be two different timelines, or maybe it's two different groups of people with different mindsets, different things that they're doing. Now, this is all speculation, and of course this video is meant for fun, for you to think more about the rotations, about the cosmetics, and about the game, and how this game is imbued with so much lore that has yet to be discovered. I want you guys to open your minds up to the idea that sometimes the things that might be aren't always as they seem. Now, if you like this video, please consider giving this video a like and subscribe so you can be able to keep up to date with more future lore videos, as I do plan on making more as my mind stirs and I find new fun things to think about. But also, you can want to subscribe so you can be able to watch the ATT SMP, where many of the biggest creators of the Township Tale are coming together to make an adventure, to show the capabilities of a Township Tale, and to maybe entice you guys to think about a Township Tale in a different way, to continue playing, because it's a great game, and there's so much untapped potential in it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.